If you thought that Bryan Kohberger's guilty pleas and his life sentences marked the end of his warped and sadistic story, you're only half right. They ended his real life story, and we can all be thankful for that. But his lifetime story is just beginning. Lifetime, of course, is the cable TV network that famously gave its ripped from the headlines treatment to the Jodi Arias case and to the Amanda Knox case and to the Menendez brothers case. And now they've turned their attention to the Idaho student murders and the monster who committed them. If you are really plugged in, you will know that the role of the murderer, Bryan Kohberger, will be played by the actor Miles Mary, who also appeared in the Lifetime epic Girl in the Shed, the kidnapping of Abby Hernandez. And whether you can or cannot imagine what it must be like for the families of these 4 students to imagine the worst part of their lives will now be a Lifetime movie, it is no doubt surreal when the directors start calling action. So earlier today, I had a conversation about all of this with Steve and Alivea Goncalves, the father and sister of Kaylee Goncalves, who was one of the 4 students murdered in that house at 1122 King Road. And I'm going to share that conversation with you in just a moment. But I also want to call your attention to an interesting little piece of information that just emerged in one of the court documents, a real court document, part of the slow motion release of all those orders and evidence that have been kept under seal for almost 3 years, the gag order. It seems that Bryan Kohberger agreed to his plea deal, something that wiped out a public trial, wiped it off the map, less than 1 week after learning that his sister Amanda had been added to the prosecution's witness list. Are those two things unrelated? Or was the thought of his big sister on the witness stand in his murder trial more than even a cold-blooded killer could stomach? I asked Steve and Alivea about that and more. Have a listen to our conversation.
Steve, Alivea, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Let me start with you, Steve. You know, it seems we get a drib and a drab of information every week or two. I'm just wondering how you're processing all of it.
Hi, you think it's over and then something comes out, yeah, you hear about, your phone starts blowing up and all this new information comes out and you just kind of start searching just like everyone else. And it's shocking every time because you think that it's over, but it just keeps on hitting you.
And Alivea, no one knows the shoes you're walking in, right? No one can ever understand what you guys are going through. Everybody processes differently too. Do you find yourself immediately wanting to know what the latest, ungagged information is? Or and you've got 4 children, you're a busy, busy woman.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to get the information as fast as I can. The day that the gag order was lifted, we asked if we could have everything that we could have up front so that we could go through it on our own time, so that we could have time to process that. So yeah, I mean, we're on pins and needles just like everyone else, waiting for that next, drop of information.
What was the reason for them not giving you everything? Did they say they needed to redact it all first? Was there a logical reason?
I think it's mainly the redactions, as well as the prosecutor's office isn't the custodian of many of these documents, right? They're actually owned by Moscow Police Department or the Idaho Police Department. And so the documents that they own, it's my understanding that they're actually held up with the court process, which is going through that very, very lengthy sealing, unsealing, redaction process. That's my understanding.
So as things, begin to drop out, this latest piece of information has sort of come out of nowhere, and it's that a Lifetime movie has been announced. They've hired an actor, and I think the working title is just The Idaho Murders, but it's one of the ripped from the headlines series. Steve, tell me your thoughts. I almost feel like it was inevitable that this was going to happen, but again, nobody walks in your shoes.
It's different, a little bit different because we're used to documentaries, but yeah, this is like a movie. And it's shocking to know that somebody feels the confident that they can just tell your story about your child. And, Maddie, her best friend, the same people that, you interacted with every day, picking them up from school, taking them to parties and taking them to birthday parties and things. And to have somebody else just tell this story, it doesn't seem real. It seems like somebody's just reaching into your house and stealing your life and putting it on the screen.
As new information comes out about the actual case, there's this information about the dramatic version of the case. Lifetime plans to, drop a movie in there ripped from the headline series. They've even hired the lead actor. No one walks in your shoes again. And I'm just wondering what it's like for you to hear that news.
Yeah, it's really angering, honestly, from my side. My sisters they're not a headline, they're not a Lifetime movie. And I get incredibly frustrated at the scripted aspect of it, right? We've experienced this in real time, and it's very, very much far from something that is specifically made for an entertainment purpose. I think that that's the part that's the hardest for me to get over.
Did they reach out to your family and ask for you to be consultants or part of the process?
Oh, absolutely not. No, we have not been. When you saw the article is when we saw the article. So we didn't have any inside information on that.
I guess the flip side of that is, would you have wanted to be, just to ensure as much accuracy in your sister's story as possible?
I personally don't want to be a part of anything that's strictly for an entertainment purpose. So while I would have appreciated them reaching out for what that stands for, I wouldn't have taken part in something that is a scripted, fictional, dramatic reenactment of our and my sister's real life.
Any chance you would consider legal action? Some people actually sue for life rights if they're not paid for life rights.
I think you want to take that, Olivia?
Yeah, I really don't know. Honestly, like, we're not, very sue happy people, and the benefit of that, I don't really know, because it's almost like whack-a-mole. Like you get one down and it, four others pop up, and it's almost like, where's that line drawn? At this point, we've had how many documentaries, we've had how many books, we've had how many articles. So, while we don't agree with it, I don't know if it's something that we would ever, take legal action over.
Yeah. The other side of the coin is the true story details. You don't even know them all yet, and they keep dropping, like that video that I don't know why I found it so jaw-dropping when I saw the video of the killer hours after his crime, wandering about his day into Costco, out of Costco, into Albertsons, and I was immediately brought to you, and I wondered how you digested that. Steve, what was it like when you saw that?
Creepy to see that guy, the way he walks and moves. It's just unnatural to my eyes. I could see why a lot of girls could pick up on that vibe very quickly. Yeah, it's disturbing to know that that was just afterwards, and you want to analyze every action that he did before and after, and yeah, it's hard. It's hard to watch that.
Olivia, I think so many people on the outside of your story are so perplexed by it. And that doesn't even come close to what I imagine your family is feeling, that how confused you are by how someone could do this. And maybe that's why we're so voracious for every ounce of new detail that might lend us something. And I just wonder, are we getting any further with every little bit that's dropped, even the video, even being able to see him in action? Are we getting closer to understanding this monster?
I don't think that we're ever going to get closer to why, because I think that the why only makes sense in a psychopathic mind. So I don't want to understand his why personally, because that would make me more like him. But as far as, that human need to, want to satisfy something in yourself that provides comfort, I get it. And personally, I think it's because of the gag order and how restrictive it was and how long lasting it was, that essentially they starved everyone out for information. So now every little piece that comes out is, nitpicked and analyzed and overanalyzed over and over and over, attempting to satisfy that starvation that we've all had for so long.
And yet it's not satisfying, at least not to me.
No. You can sit there and look at that Costco video, and I did, and the takeaway is what? Is it more answers? Is it more questions? Is it applicable? Is it not? Yeah, it's absolutely creepy.
I think I took away, yes, he's heartless. He has no compunction. He's just done this horrifying thing, and life is, let's get a coffee. But I think, I feel like I already knew that. I just maybe need it reinforced because it can't possibly be true. Like, I guess, Steve, that I keep coming back to my original resolution to this can't possibly be true. Please tell me there's something else. And I don't know that I'm getting there either.
Yeah, when you see that person walking around and you know the actions that they've done, you want to tell yourself that you'd be able to identify them, that they wouldn't be able to blend in. They wouldn't look like just a normal guy in the grocery store sitting next to you. So when you see it, it just creeps you out and gives you this, okay, this person isn't behaving in a manner that I would expect anyone who'd just done that. And I think that's a lot of the reasons why we all look at that and say, this just doesn't make sense.
We want to know we can identify the evil that walks among us. And when you look at that, you're absolutely right. I felt for the Costco greeter who brushed up against horror and didn't know it. I felt for the cashier who had no idea who was in front of them. I felt for the people who were just passing right by with bags full of groceries, that they had no idea how close they came to this monster among our flock, Let me ask you about this new report that came out. And Olivia, maybe you can speak to this, that the deal was struck, the plea deal was agreed to by the killer just days after he learned that his sister was going to be on the prosecution's witness list. Did that surprise you? Did it give you insight to anything at all?
No, I don't really believe that causation is correlation there. I think that the plea deal was a long time coming. I think that probably what had more of an impact on the plea deal being taken was the fact that the alternate perpetrator argument was struck down. They wouldn't be able to take that into the courtroom. So that door closed. They didn't have any more to open up. Time was winding down. I think it had very, very little to do with his sister being on that prosecutor's list.
What do you think the prosecutors thought they were going to get from her?
There's been a long backstory of things that have been suggested that she, I think that there was people believe that she had seen him with a knife personally. I think that would have been something that would have came up in talking about the murder weapon predating even moving out here would be very damning to their case. And I don't think they were able to ever give a replacement for what was missing. So the time was running out, and even having his family and all those people, that probably didn't help to remind him that he was cooked, and the evidence was there, and he wasn't going to get out to be able to go recover any of those things. His time totally ran out to try to swap one for another.
Steve, I know there are so many people in law enforcement and who are involved, in this case, even in an ancillary way, who have so much love and respect for your family and care and concern for you all, and you in particular. Has anyone reached out to you to tell you any information about how he's faring now, months after now that he's been locked away? Have you learned anything that, it's hard to say could feel good, but at least might feel like some kind of justice?
Yeah, I have heard that he isn't doing so well in that prison system that he's in the block that he's at. He's very adamant that he has rights in there that need to be respected. And I think he's starting to learn that, you picked the Northwest, you picked Idaho, you picked a place where we don't spend a lot of money on people that we throw the key away on. So, you pick their state, now you got to live it. You don't do the crime if you can't do the time. And he's going to be doing the time. And I've been hearing a lot about how the amount of noise that he's making in there isn't doing him any favors.
And my thanks to Steve and Alivea Goncalves. And my apologies for the audio quality on that. I don't get it either.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.